Hi!
Welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream Movie Show. My name is Adam.
My name's Nick. Welcome back to another trip on board the Streamboat because we are on our never-ending mission to find hidden gems at the bottom of the Netflix stream.
We are indeed. And this week we have found a movie, or Robin has selected as a movie, called Sundogs.
Sure.
Sundogs was released in 2017, is a 12, runs for 1 hour and 34 minutes, and is currently rated as 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah.
6.3.
Subject matter-wise, I can see that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah, I'm not surprised it's got a high rating.
No, nor me.
There's a lot that it feels very awards-y. I think I mentioned it on the wave.
Right.
If this takes another turn and gets momentum behind it,
It could have gone somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's fair.
But let's see what we thought.
Let's see what we thought of it. This movie stars a guy called Michael Angarano.
Perfect.
Going with that. He plays a character called Ned. He was in Almost Famous when he was younger. And when he's older, he's in Oppenheimer.
Oh, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. It's the one about the booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, all the rabbits.
Quite a few other things as well, but they're the two most famous things he's been in, I think. Also stars a lady. How am I saying this lady's name? Miss Melissa Benoist?
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 Yeah.
Benoist.
Benoist.
She plays Tally. She's Supergirl.
She was for years,
Famously,
wasn't she?
for a long time.
On the TV show.
She's also in Whiplash.
Okay.
She's also in Patriots Day.
Okay.
And she's also in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Cool.
So quite a few things. She's also in the new Masters of the Universe Netflix show.
Cool.
So yeah, she's been in quite a lot of stuff. She does a lot of Kevin Smith stuff.
Sure.
She's in a few of the Clerks movies as well, I think. So I think that's probably why she's in the Masters of the Universe thing that he does. She was in Arrow. She's been in loads of stuff. You'd know her. And also, this movie stars, first time on the show, I believe, Ed O'Neill.
I think so, yeah.
He's the sort of guy that pops up in a lot of stuff, so it seems strange that we've only just got to him
Yeah.
this far in. But Ed O'Neill plays Bob, obviously most famous for Married with Children. Been in loads of other stuff. Modern Family, Wreck-It Ralph, Finding Dory. Loads. Pretty much everything.
Sure.
You just know Ed O'Neill, don't you? He's just one of these guys that you
He-
just know who he is.
Wide and varied career.
Yes, absolutely. Written by, I always get suspicious when this happens, written by a guy called Raoul McFarland,
Okay.
and he only has this credit on his IMDb. Nothing about him on there, just this film and nothing else.
Interesting.
Is it a pen name for somebody,
Could be.
maybe? And directed by a lady called Jennifer Morrison,
Yeah.
who's been in quite a few things as well.
Her directorial debut.
It is indeed. She's also in this movie. She has
Yes.
a couple of scenes in the movie. She's also the top billed cast member of this movie.
Well, that's false advertising.
Very much so. She's in like 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Juno. She's in Juno. She's in I, Tonya. She's in The Creator, which only just recently came out. Yeah, quite a few things.
Would you say mostly known for TV work? She's
in lots of
hundreds of
TV shows.
episodes of House.
Yeah.
And is it Once Upon a Time?
Yeah, she was like the main
character in that.
main girl in that.
That was on for years as well. So
Yes, so you know her. But this is her directorial, and so far only directorial
movie.
outing.
Yeah.
Do you have a one-word review of this movie, Nick?
I've actually got 2 options.
Okay. Do I get to choose?
Okay. Do you want option A or option B?
I want to hear them both, and then I'll pick the best.
Okay. Sundog Millionaire
Yep.
or Not Married with Children. Feels like a waste of
both
one
both really apt, so I'll take them both. Yeah. Ed O'Neill plays somebody who's a stepfather, so yeah, you might be right. Where's this movie start, Nick?
with a young man
It does.
curled up on his bunk,
Yes.
dreaming or being tortured by visions of war.
Visions of War and 9/11.
Yes, for it is September the 11th,
It is.
2004.
The third anniversary of the September 11th
Indeed.
attacks.
And I think I was supposed to, as the viewer, be under the impression, at least in these first few scenes, that this is an ex-serviceman
Yes.
haunted by his experiences.
Correct. That is not what this is.
No?
This is a wannabe serviceman. And this movie is about a man who wants to be a Marine.
And this person, unnamed to us so far, wakes up.
Yep.
And gets straight into his calisthenics.
It does. My first note says, wakes up, weighs himself.
Yeah.
Does a bit of a workout, and then he goes for a run. The title card hits during his run. Gets home and strips all of his clothes off, except for his underwear. And his mum comes out and takes a Polaroid picture of him.
Yeah.
And this is your first sign where you think, this isn't quite what I was expecting it to be.
Exactly. He writes like day 364 on the Polaroid.
And he's got a pic, and they're all on his wall.
Yeah.
So he's basically tracking his progress by Polaroid pictures every single day. I don't know if I could sleep in a room with 364 pictures of my half-naked self on the wall.
I definitely
don't even like having a mirror in there. What if you got pictures of me on your wall?
No, I was like, I get distracted.
He also receives a package. And the package is the 9/11 Commission report.
Yeah.
Which is a great big,
it's a huge
multi-page document.
Yeah.
Of what happened, basically.
The official government report.
Yes. He has a typewriter in his room and he types a couple of words out.
Cue cards. He likes his cue cards.
He likes to keep cue cards of things he needs to say during the day. And he just types a few keywords from that report out, doesn't he? Then he's on a bus.
Oh, first his mum shaves him.
His mum shaves him. That's a good
facially.
Point. Yes. So we kind of get.
And he has scars. It's the first time you notice this
he's got some
scars on his forehead and across his skull.
So we kind of know now that this isn't an ex-serviceman, or if it is, he's a real issue.
He's saying some facts about 9/11 and it's like, he's rehearsing a speech or something, and I'm expecting him to be doing a presentation at school or college or. But no, that's also not what is happening.
No, because he's on a bus, and whilst he's on the bus, he's again dreaming of, having visions of war and 9/11 and things. And then he turns up at a Marine recruitment centre.
Sure, just in town, in the middle of the town.
Yeah, and we find out that he has aspirations to become a Marine.
Yeah, he wants to sign up.
Yeah.
And we find out at this point this is Ned Chipley.
Yes, that's his name. This is our main character in this movie.
Yeah.
And this is not his first rodeo. This is his fourth attempt to join in the Marines.
It is.
And he has not been successful at any of the previous times.
Correct.
And he has been writing letters, filling out forms. He's been doing all sorts to try and get in.
It's also his birthday.
Yes.
But that is not really focused on, apart from the fact his mother said, whatever happens, don't get too upset because we're going out for your celebration meal later.
This time he gets introduced to the Master Sergeant
of
this recruitment centre, and he basically starts begging to be let into the Marines. He's on his hands and knees at one point. He starts doing push-ups to prove his worth.
But he's confused, isn't he? Because it's a new...
Yes, it's not the one he's seen the previous 3 times.
Yeah, so he has to get over that. And did you notice, by the way, who played Master Sergeant Jenkins?
I didn't.
No?
No.
It was Exhibit.
Was it?
Yes. From Rapping and Pimp My Ride fame.
You know what? I would never have picked that out. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Even now, I don't see that. That's crazy.
He was good.
Yeah, he was good. So he obviously doesn't. We don't see the end of this conversation, but he obviously doesn't get let in because the next time we see him, he's on the bus again and he's upset. He's visibly upset.
He's took his, like you said, he took his shirt off in this meeting. He's tried to read off these cue cards. He says, "I've put on." 3.5 kilograms of muscle. Look, I can do 100 press-ups, but he ignores the questions when the sergeant asks him, "Have you got any medical conditions?" And look, this guy has clearly
got some medical conditions.
And he's gutted.
Yeah, he's devastated. He's
not allowed to sign up.
No,
essentially,
he's not allowed in. We cut to his parents. Well, I thought at this point was his parents, but it was his mum and his mum's fella.
Long-term boyfriend.
They're not married.
Yeah.
So he's not officially stepdad, but he might as well be for the amount of time they've been together. And they're kind of worried about him. They talk about how Bob is the dad or the stepdad, and he says, "Look, you shouldn't let him chase his dreams all the time."
He says, "Remember when he was a mascot?" And I thought this was a great.
It was a great little flashback. So he was a football mascot for a
high school team. Yeah.
And he got upset and got involved in the game because they were losing. And
so basically, the opposition's whatever player was clean through on goal and still in his full cougar mascot gear. Ned tackled him, stopped him scoring. Because he thought he was helping.
Yeah,
he wants to help people. He says that over and over.
That's the point of this movie, isn't it? That all he wants to do is help. And so Bob says, look, you shouldn't let him chase his dreams all the time. You need to lower his expectations in life.
And we can cut to Ned sitting in his pants in his bedroom with the cougar mascot head on.
Yeah, we do.
Because he puts it on anytime he's sad. And he tells Mum he won't come out for his birthday dinner because he's upset.
But he does come out when Bob asks him if he wants to go and watch Platoon.
Yeah.
So that's his
favourite Deer Hunter and Platoon are his two favourite movies.
So they sit and watch Platoon together. And then we find out that Ned actually does have a job.
Yeah.
He works at a local casino.
So, again, this wasn't really spelled out for us, but we kind of just work it out. So Ned's mother works nights.
Yes.
She's a nurse at a hospital working night shifts. Bob was a trucker.
Yeah.
So was away for a long period of time. And Ned also works at nights. He's basically a janitor at a casino.
Yeah.
And Bob takes him to work every night.
Yeah, Bob had to retire because of an injury.
He's got a pending settlement case.
Yeah, he got injured on the job, so he's retired and now he's waiting for some money to come through. While we were at the casino watching, I would say watching Ned work, but he stands in the exact same spot every time we see him in the casino.
It's just
cleaning this one.
Cleaning some paneling.
Yeah. We meet Tally for the first time. We don't know who she is at this point, but she's basically, I don't know how you describe this person. She's like
So I don't think, whether it's because this movie was, and this might be one of my criticisms, was worried about its rating.
Yeah.
It didn't outright say it, but it was kind of trying to tell me she's basically a prostitute.
It was implying that she was soliciting in the casino, yes. But it never says that.
No.
It doesn't even come close to saying
No.
Because as soon as she comes in the casino owner escorts her out, gets the security guard.
So not you again, I tell you every night. Yeah.
But while she's doing this, she's trying to come onto these old men on the slot machines.
We follow her back to the trailer park where
she lives on the trailer park. When she gets back, she finds out that her current boyfriend, I guess, has
left,
gone with the caravan that she lives in.
No, the caravan's there.
Is it?
Yeah, but the landlord's like, I've had to lock it because he's behind on his...
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's behind on the rent.
I've written that he wouldn't let her in the caravan. Yeah, that's fine.
And but again, and then it's very much unless we can work something out.
Yeah, and then she goes into his caravan. So we kind of know what they're going to work out. But that's never mentioned again either. Next day, or I assume the next day or at some point in the future, Ned sees on the news that a video, that Osama bin Laden has released a new video.
Yeah.
Basically threatening the West again.
Declaring war on the US, basically saying, the attacks will not stop. Yeah. We're coming for you.
And Bob, even though Bob earlier in the movie had said that we shouldn't allow his pipe dreams to become a thing, he basically puts an idea now into Ned's head.
Yeah.
That the guy who lives 2 doors down, Paul Delgado, is a Marine in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And all he wants to do is come home.
Yeah.
So why doesn't...
And Ned is like, who?
Yeah, he doesn't know who he is.
I don't know who this person is.
Bob's like, you do know who he is. You walk his dog for him. You're fully aware of who this guy is. And you should take his place. And I'm like, well, that's not dampening his pipe. I think
he kind of says it offhand, doesn't he? He's like, oh, well, he wants to come back. You should take his place.
Yeah.
But to Ned, this is like a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because he goes straight to this neighbour's house where his mother lives. And he says to her, I want to talk to you about your son. And he eventually gets a photo of him and everything. And then we find out...
we get a little montage then of Ned like re-upping his training.
Yeah, he's got the idea back in his head again. He thinks he's found a way in, basically. His mum talks about how she regrets never travelling and wants to do more with her life.
Yeah, and Bob's very much...
Bob's a stay-at-home.
I travelled for years driving a truck. Everywhere looks the same.
Yeah, he doesn't even go on holiday because...
But he's talking about driving a truck along the freeway.
She's talking
about going to...
Seeing the world,
India, you know.
While they're having this conversation, Ned comes back from his run and his protein shake isn't ready, so he kicks off about that.
Yeah, because things have to be a certain way.
Yeah. And then we see him back on the bus again, and he's cradling this picture of Paul Delgado, who's a Marine, and he's also he's daydreaming about war again, and he goes back to this recruitment center, and this is where the director Jennifer Morrison, she works in this recruitment center. and that's how we see
She's
her.
The receptionist, isn't she?
Yeah. And he gets to see the staff sergeant again.
Yeah, exhibit
apparently. Who knew? And he's like, that's not really how recruitment works.
He's like, that sounds... He doesn't tell him he's crazy, because that would be offensive. But he's like, no, we can't just swap you in.
Swap you
like
in for a trained Marine. We can't just bring one home and send you in.
But Sergeant Jenkins he's clearly got a soft spot already for Ned.
He doesn't want to let him down. He wants to help this guy, I guess. And he says to me, why do you want to join the Marines? What is your inspiration? Why do you want to do it? And he says, I hate terrorists and I want to save lives.
Yeah.
Why does anybody else want to join the Marines? And so they have this like quite sweet conversation, don't they? He's like, have you considered trying to find something on the home front, right? Defending your home nation and doing something here.
He said we need heroes at home.
Yeah.
That Al Qaeda is a threat on our soil.
Yeah.
And
he kind of buys into Ned's naivety a little bit.
Yeah. He's clearly trying to sort of... He doesn't want to let him down.
But he also wants him to leave.
Yeah.
So he gives him a fake job.
Yes. He appoints Ned a special operative.
Yeah. And he gives him a pack of the terrorist playing cards were a big thing after the 9/11, weren't they? There was like 52 wanted men, so they made them all the playing cards. And these are the men that we're looking for.
And he gives him his business card and says, you see anything? He says,
any of these
be
men
vigilant, and if you see anything suspicious, give me a call, give me an email.
Yeah. And Ned says, does my platoon have a nickname?
Yeah.
And he calls them the Sun Dogs. Because there's a sun dogs is like the reflection of the sun in photographs, so you usually get two on one on either side. So that's their name because there was a photo on his desk and he just made it up on the spot. So Ned instantly like, right, I'm in. I'm doing the job I've always wanted to do. I'm not. He doesn't even think about getting paid for it, but so he goes and gets himself some business cards made, official looking business cards, and he starts giving them out to everybody who he sees. It's like even the guy who prints the business cards. Gives them to him and says, I
thought he was going to start getting this platoon together because the guy who works for him on the business card gives him the business cards is genuinely interested because he's like Ned's like, I'm a special operative. If you see anything, but the guy who I recognise by the way from Community, and I think he's in like one of the NCIS things. Again, this is full of faces you recognise probably because Jennifer Morrison's worked in TV.
That's it. They're all TV stars, aren't they? They're all.
And I felt this was going right. Oh, he's going to recruit this group of losers, basically, to be a sort of vigilante.
I thought exactly the same, but this isn't where this goes.
But comedy.
I thought that's
useless
exactly where we were going.
Bunch of losers.
But it isn't where we go.
But that's not quite what happens. But yeah, Ned gets his business cards made up, which fully has his phone number.
Yeah.
Says that he's a special operative.
Special operative, Sun Dogs.
Yeah, his email address.
Got the army logo on, everything. So he starts giving these out to everybody and telling everybody to be vigilant, looking for these people. His mum then watches. When he gets home, his mum's watching herself on seems to be like an old game show.
Yeah, from the 70s.
She's like really regretting her life at the minute.
She thinks she could have
done better with her life.
And this was someone who's a nurse. You know, she's doing good every day. At the same time, Bob is watching this documentary about a lost treasure, which is in their town, basically.
So he's always up for the easy book where his mum wants to make more from her life. Yeah. And then you've got Ned in the middle. Ned goes to work. Whilst he's there, an older man collapses at the fruit machine.
Yeah.
And the same girl we met earlier, Tally, she gets kicked out again because she's all over this guy.
Yeah.
But this time Ned goes after her. And he thinks his boss is a terrorist.
Yeah, how can we say this politely? Ned is mentally challenged.
Yeah.
And one of the playing cards is a Middle Eastern guy with a turban on, which is also what his boss is.
Yeah.
So he now thinks this, whatever it is, the 6 of diamonds in this terrorist pack of playing cards is his boss.
I mean, does that play on the sentiment at the time when everybody was treated like 100%. That? And I think that's what they were going for with that. Which I don't know. Does it make it a better movie because of that, or I don't know?
Is it? I don't know. I feel like we've got to tread carefully here. Is the movie saying, well, we're kind of trying to get away with that because Ned is challenged. But
then at that time
there was plenty of people. I don't want to tar all Americans or of any country with the same brush.
That was
people
happening.
Would have gone.
It was happening across America at
that
the time.
That guy's suspicious.
Anybody in a turban was suspicious, and I think that's what this movie's saying to us here. And he talks to Tally and tells Tally all about how he thinks this guy's a terrorist and he's a special op and he's checking out. And she's on board with it because
she is, but she's just desperate to escape, isn't she, from her life? So she
fully believes everything Ned tells her.
Yes, but she never
also
stops.
Doesn't like
she
this
never
guy.
Stops to take a step back to think about could this really be happening?
No, absolutely not.
Which I was okay with. From where her character was. He gives her a card, and he's like, "Can you keep a secret?" He shows the playing card.
Yeah, and it does look like him, but it is what it is. When he gets home, he's already got an email from Tally.
Yeah, she's the first person to email him from all these cards.
And they have a bit of an email back and forth between them, and they decide that they need to.
She says we should get a video camera and surveillance this guy.
Watch this guy. So they do. They go and buy a video camera, and they make a plan to take him down.
She accompanies him on the bus.
Yeah. And
she asks him. She starts asking the right questions. She's like, "Why? If you're an operative, why can't you drive?"
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't because of my injuries."
Yeah, he's got injuries, and he lives with his mum because that's his cover.
Yeah.
He makes up this whole.
No, he's not making it up.
No, he's not making it up, but
she's making it up from his answer.
He's answering completely truthfully, but she's like,
"Oh, that's genius! So to be undercover, living with your parents."
Yeah, exactly.
And she sees him. She waits outside the recruitment office.
They go to the recruitment
But she doesn't see it as a recruitment office because she's like side off.
It's an office, yeah.
And she sees Sergeant Jenkins shaking Ned's hand and passing him this case, which he says is important documents. Yeah. And it's not. It's just Ned left his briefcase there the week before.
Accidentally left it there last time we went. So they start watching this guy. They start staking him out. The guy's called Uday. And she's asking more questions. And they make like a video of this guy, don't they? They follow him around, make a compilation video of all the stuff he's been doing.
And he buys a load of stuff from the hardware store.
Yeah, and he's got a van, and he's got some friends, and they send it over to the Master Sergeant, and he gets his video. He doesn't do anything about it.
No, but you get the odd shot of Exhibit looking at the TV like,
But at this point, he should have put a stop to this because he could see what was happening here, but he doesn't. And it gets to the point where Ned even recruits Tally as a new member of the Sundogs.
Yeah, he buys her own shades.
Yeah,
and she's touched.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's also got obviously the tech savvy.
Yeah.
So she manages to get. She goes into the hardware store the next time that Uday and his guys go in.
Yeah.
And flirts with the cashier and gets a copy of the receipt.
Yeah, so they know exactly what he's been buying.
And he's bought a large quantity of glue, fuel, and paint.
Yes. So they send another video off to the office. Again, Exhibit doesn't do anything about it. Then they set up like not a sting, but in the casino, she intentionally gets kicked out so she can get closer to Uday. I don't quite understand.
She was I thought she was trying to grab something out of his pocket. Yeah. It was like his. I don't know whether it was like a dongle or
she was after something.
Basically, whatever she nabbed, or whether it was a card or something, seemed to give her access to all his emails.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't well explained.
She gets kicked out. While she gets kicked out,
so her part of the plan kind of works.
Yeah.
She creates a distraction. She manages to nab whatever she nabs.
But Ned gets offended by the fact that she's being dragged out of the casino.
And he chokes out the security guard,
which he
wasn't supposed to do.
No, he runs up behind the security guard, chokes him out. And then, so because of that, loses his job at the casino.
But she's like in awe of him. She's like, you protected me, even though you lost your job. She's like, you went too far, but no one's ever looked after me like that before.
Yeah. Bob then decides that he suggests to Ned that they maybe should start a business together doing something.
Because this is the first time it comes up. Ned's got money.
Yes.
So presumably he got a lot of money from, well, we later find out why. He got a settlement from the hospital.
Yes.
But yeah, Bob said, a couple of times Bob says, oh, you can, come on, invest in this. I've got an idea.
Yeah. Bob's a dreamer, isn't he? He just wants a quick buck. Tally turns up at the house to pick Ned up. They're going out somewhere.
Bob's like, I recognise you.
Bob knows her
I've seen you
earlier in the movie we'd seen her try and pick up Bob at the casino, and he dismissed it straight out. He knew exactly what she was.
He tells her stop hustling.
Yeah, because he thinks she's hustling Ned, but Ned comes out, gets in the car.
They're cut off before their conversation is cut off before they can sort of get into the why are you hanging around with this challenged kid? He's
That's where Bob was going, but he never quite got there before Ned comes out. They send another video off to the office to see it.
They've managed to get Uday's texts and emails, so they send a load of evidence. They send a
list of that off with a list of other people's names as well. They're still staking out this guy as well. This time, Tally's reading a book.
Yeah.
And she's reading The Catcher in the Rye.
Sure.
So they discuss that and what it's about.
And she says, "Oh, Ned, you're really odd. How have you never read this, but you've read the 9/11 Commission report?" And
he's like, "This is what I do." But the Catcher, she says, The Catcher in the Rye is about a guy who doesn't live in reality.
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's subtle. And they decide to ditch the stakeout for tonight.
Yeah,
it's raining. It's the middle of the night. He's not going to leave again.
So they go back to hers.
They go back to her caravan, and they bond a little bit.
They drink schnapps.
They do. They drink some peach schnapps. And they do bond. They start
talk about family.
They chat about her mum killed herself.
Yeah.
She left a letter basically that said, "If I'm going to walk to work. If nobody says hello or how are you on my way, I'm
or ask me how I am. She says it's actually she says the opposite.
Yeah,
the same but the opposite.
It says, the sentiment's right.
Yeah, it says if no one says hello to me or asks me how I am on my walk to work, I will kill myself.
Yeah, and her mum did kill herself.
Jumped off the bridge
on the way to work. But Tally kept the suicide note, and nobody even knows this note exists. So they everybody just assumed it was an accident.
And she says to Ned, "Oh, I will come to your house for Thanksgiving," because he'd asked her that earlier.
Yeah, she turned it down because of Bob.
Yeah.
And then he asks if he can have this suicide note.
Yeah.
Because he's a bit of a collector, isn't he? He's a bit of a hoarder.
Sure.
He likes to collect stuff. And she gives it to him. She's like, yeah, you can have it if you want it. I don't need it. And she says, look, when this case is broken, whenever you move on to next, I want to come with you.
Can I work with you? Yeah.
But by the time she's got to this point, he's asleep on the bed. He's fallen asleep. Then they do all have Thanksgiving dinner together, and Bob doesn't really let on that he knows who she is.
No, and Ned's mum and Tally seem to bond quite quickly.
Yeah.
I think the mum suggests to her like, "Oh, I've seen your videos. Look, Ned says they're great. You should look at going to film school."
Yes, yeah.
And it's like no one's ever suggested this.
Yeah, it's like a whole new idea for her.
She's never had this sort of family unit, I guess.
During this conversation as well that we find out about why Bob stopped working and all that sort of stuff. Tally and the mum...
Again, they don't quite have the conversation that would have derailed the film.
No, they discuss Bob a little more, don't they?
Yeah.
The mum talks about how she loves him but doesn't really want to see him every day. When she fell in love with him, he was away all the time.
Yeah.
And it's easier if he's away and then comes back every so often.
And she says to Tally, "Oh, I'm so impressed that you're not bothered by Ned's condition."
Yeah.
And I think Tally thought she was talking about the fact that he was undercover.
Yeah.
And again, Ned comes and interrupts it before anyone asks a key question that would blow the whole...
The whole movie falls apart with one conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
And that just doesn't happen. Ned's mum then reveals that to Bob that she wants to move away.
She wants to try something. She doesn't specifically want to move away, but she wants to try something new, and she's applied for an exchange program.
Yeah, in
with
Harlem.
her nursing.
I don't know where this film's set, but it's the other side of the country to Harlem, so it's a long way.
She wants to be a
paramedic,
an EMT. Yeah,
she wants to be a paramedic. She wants to go out in ambulances and help people.
Yeah.
And Bob's like, nah, I'm not up for that. I'm not really on board with that. I'll take you on a cruise instead.
He's not supportive.
Not at all. But she's like,
why would you want to go anywhere?
But she's like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
She
and he even tries to guilt her about Ned. You can't leave Ned.
Yeah.
And she's like, he'll be absolutely fine.
Not only will Ned be fine, it was his idea because they'd kind of talked about it earlier in the movie. Ned and Tally then follow Uday's van, and he goes to an airport, and it turns out he's trying to get a pilot's license.
Yeah.
And that triggers all sorts of alarms for them both.
And they see a text which says, "We fly on the 15th. Yeah. Praise Allah."
Yes.
And then again, while they're in the stakeout, Tally's just been jotting some numbers down because they'd been talking about her mum jumping off the bridge and stuff, and she said she's basically done some maths and said if you saved 30 people or stopped 30 people a year jumping off a bridge, and now each one of those 30 people has 2 kids, and you did it for 50 years, you'd save 3,000 people, which is the same number that died in 9/11.
Yeah. And then the conversation does happen. So Tally goes to see Ned at the house again, and Bob's there. And Bob kind of reveals the truth of what's going on here.
Why are you still hanging around?
What is your end game? He doesn't really understand.
And he's annoyed because Mum's moving away.
Yeah, and so he says, look, Ned isn't who you think he is. And if you don't believe me, go and look in his room.
No, because Tally starts talking about
how he's like
serving and being in the army. And Bob's like, no, what?
Yeah.
He's like, I served. I was in Vietnam. Yeah. He's like, does that look like a
soldier's bedroom? She says go into his bedroom.
Right, yeah, before that. And Tally says, well, what about his wounds, his head? And Bob's like, that was from a paint can falling on his head. It's nothing to do with it. And he basically says he's been simple since birth.
Yeah. The
hospital fucked it up.
And if you don't believe me, go and check his room.
Yeah.
And she does. She does go and check his room. And she realizes she thinks she's been duped by this guy.
She's angry, but she's angry at herself as well.
Yes, because she hasn't been duped by him. She just hasn't really listened to him.
Yeah.
Or realised who he is. They then find out that
because he's got these toys in his room. He has got the 9/11 stuff. He's got your country needs you posters.
Hundreds of pictures of himself. And
yeah.
They then go back to staking out Uday, and she's not into it, and then she realises what is going on, and he was getting a pilot's license and buying all this hardware because he flies model aeroplanes.
Yeah, they see him over the fence.
And she's like, she confronts Ned. She's like...
But Ned's already called the cops. And
he's already called all the cops.
Terrorist activities happening.
At the airport and all this. And she calls him out on his lies, in the inverted commas, and she's like, none of this is real. What are you doing? And... she calls him a retarded virgin, which I thought was really harsh. And she says she hates his guts. And then she walks away. And just as she walks away, and he doesn't really understand what's happened because he's not really understanding the situation here. And then he suddenly gets surrounded by cop cars.
Yeah.
Hundreds of cop cars. Well, not hundreds, but lots of cop cars. And they all pull their guns on him. And
he's bailed out of prison by Bob for the
Bob,
second time in this movie.
Yeah.
First time being when he choked out the security guard.
Yeah. So then he goes into a funk. Bob wants to go and find this gold.
Ned is just sitting at home with his
mascot head
with his mascot head on.
Because it feels like that was his previous obsession.
Safe place. Yeah.
There was his obsession before becoming a Marine was being this mascot, and that's like his safe place now.
So he's just walking around the house with his cougar head on. It's quite funny.
And Bob's watching this documentary on this gold again, and he's talking about how he wants to go and find it.
Mum's left off screen as well. She's gone.
She's
gone to do a placement in New York.
So it's just the two of them left now. And Ned just says to him, "Look, why don't you just go and get it? If you want this gold, just go and get it. What's the issue?
Because everything's easy for Ned.
Yeah.
So let's just do it.
Let's just go and find this gold." He sends a resignation letter to Exhibit.
Yeah.
He says, that's basically what he says. I resign as whatever. He doesn't want to do it anymore. And Bob's tells Ned at this point that he's worried about him, that he needs to get out of this funk that he's gotten himself into. Because I feel like some time has passed as well.
Yeah.
And he's just been sitting with this mascot head on.
He's growing a beard. Weeks have gone past.
Well, yeah, that's true.
And suddenly it's Christmas.
Yes. And Bob makes a call to the Master Sergeant and says, look, you need to come and sort out.
Can you come and have a chat with him?
You did this. Yeah. That conversation happens off screen, but this guy turns up at Christmas. This guy's obviously not got a family of his own.
And he apologises.
He apologises. He does. He says, look, I should never have done this for you. I should never have dragged you
Sergeant Jenkins says, I don't know why I found this so difficult. He says, I tell people all the time they're not going to make it because they've not got they failed the Marine exam or what have you. But he said, I just should have told you, your medical condition prevents you from ever being able to
be
sign up.
Yeah.
And then he gives them some good advice. He says, you need a purpose. Yeah. Every man needs a purpose.
Yeah.
But you need to find what that is.
Yeah. And that kind of brings Ned out of his funk a little bit. Bob
says, what did the sergeant say to you? And Ned says, he told me I need a purpose. And Bob said, he's right.
Yeah, you absolutely do need a purpose.
We need to find what it is.
He then receives 2 postcards at the same time.
Yeah.
One from New York from his mum and one from San Francisco from Tally.
Yes.
He reads the Tally one, but he doesn't seem to read the mum one.
We never see it.
We never see him read it. And Tally's basically apologising. She's like, look, I should have figured this out. I'm sorry.
But she also thanks him. She says, I've come to San Francisco, which is where my mum was for a while. Yeah. And she said, I never would have come here if you hadn't have just said, well, just go.
Go and do it. So he did.
And she says, thanks. I hopefully we can see each other.
Yeah, she says, come out here. Come and visit me.
Let's be friends.
Bob and Ned then go out with a metal detector that they've got off eBay. The one thing we haven't mentioned is Ned's got an obsession with buying stuff off eBay.
Yeah, because you can get anything.
Yeah, it's like an eBay advert from the early 2000s. I think that's where he got the 9/11 Commission report from as well. And Bob is brutally honest with him. He says, look, you need to stop with unrealistic goals. You need to get some realistic goals in your life. And he says to Ned, what do you want to be?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with your life? And he says, I want to be a catcher in the rye.
And that's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I know, I've heard of the book. What do you mean?
Ned says, that's exactly my reaction because I've never read it either. And he says, I want to catch kids who fall off cliffs.
Yeah.
Because that's what the catcher
in the rye is. And Ned's like, well, that's not realistic.
It's not a real job.
And he's like, you can't catch people after they fall. You can prevent people from falling. And that's the germ of the idea.
That's the light bulb moment because the next thing we see is Ned going back to his typewriter and he's typing like Jessica Spencer at the start of Murder, She Wrote.
Jessica Fletcher.
Jesse Spencer is the guy who proposed to the director. And he's just typing constantly onto his little cue cards. We don't see what he's typing. We just see his fingers going wild. Bob is still searching for the gold. He's out there on his own now. We don't know if he ever finds it because the next thing we see...
Bob, just for that, Bob basically, in one of these conversations while they're out metal detecting, basically says to Ned, we're not getting that. I'm not getting that payout.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't the company's fault. Yeah. Whatever happened.
Yeah, whatever happened. We don't know what happened. The next time we see Ned is walking up a escalator in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And he looks completely different.
He's styled his beard and his hair and his coat. He basically has copied the look of Robert De Niro from The Deer Hunter.
Okay, yeah.
He's even got a beret.
He has got a beret. And he walks up to the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
And he walks onto the bridge. And he sees a lady on the bridge.
She looks distressed.
She looks distressed and she's looking out over the bridge. And he gives her a card from his pocket.
Yeah.
And the card says, hello, how are you today? Which is what Tally's mum wanted to hear from whoever asked her that question. Was she before she jumped off her bridge?
Yeah.
And that is how the movie ends.
Yeah.
That is Ned's new role in life is to stop people jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
Which is an actual job.
Yeah.
He has a realistic goal now. There are people on the Golden Gate Bridge that do that. And that's the end of the movie. Thoughts?
Overall, I enjoyed it.
Me too.
I think it's got some good performances in it.
Yeah, it has.
It's just
something a little bit missing.
It's a bit on the nose.
Yes, it is
sometimes.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's like I kind of knew where they were going, but they literally talk about saving people from bridges, and it's like the metaphor, and catching kids from cliffs, and I guess that's kind of how Ned's brain works, isn't it? That's literally what I'm going to go and do. But I just felt the movie could have done it a bit more subtly.
It's about as subtle as a house brick, this movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't leave anything to your imagination. It explains in plain English what it is doing, why it is doing it, and where it is going. And it doesn't leave you anything to think about.
And I think that's what stops it from getting to the next level. Is there's a good cast and there's some proper good actors in this giving pretty good performances.
Yeah. But
they're not allowed to really get their teeth into some stuff here.
Yeah, I agree.
It sketches. They're sketch characters, not real characters. Yeah. The character of Tally is really interesting because it almost, like we touched on it at the start about, we think essentially she's a prostitute, but it almost kind of feels like the decision was made, we're not going to say that because then you might not like the character. But that's not, those two things don't go hand in hand. You can have someone who's been forced to do that, or take those tough decisions, but it doesn't mean they're a bad person because you're a prostitute. It's not enough shades of grey.
No, there's
here,
not. There really isn't. Tally is a great example there. What you're saying, because if they'd have just said that, it makes her character more interesting.
Yeah.
But at the minute, the way she is, she just feels...
It's shied away from really showing how difficult she had it,
Yeah, and it makes her not feel like a human being.
Yeah.
Because her reactions are wrong for everything she does. Because what she's doing is actually just living this dream of she wants to get away from this life, and this guy is the dream soldier that could take her away from it. And she knows deep down that it isn't real, but she never accepts it.
Yeah.
But the film doesn't tell you that.
No.
The film just treats her like an idiot that's going along with...
And then she gets a postcard at the end.
Yeah.
Because she's done all that development off screen.
And it really shortchanges her character. Yeah. And it's a great performance.
I think Mum and Bob are also shortchanged.
They are.
Because I think there's some really interesting things going on there. So she's at this point, crossroads in her life, where she sees this is my last chance to try something new and do something I really want. But that's one conversation that she has with Ned.
Yeah.
And he's not even answering the questions she asks. And then Bob and Mum have one conversation where he's like, well, I don't think you should do it. Yeah. Well, I'm going to do it. And it's like, oh, there's more here. There's some really interesting characters.
There's never a relationship built between Ned and his mum. They barely have any scenes together. And
I feel that's in real life, that's probably scheduling difficulties.
Yes, it probably is.
Because Alison Janney is really busy and everything.
It's super famous. But so when she leaves, it doesn't really... You don't really care.
You don't even see a goodbye scene.
No, you don't. And you don't care because Ned doesn't care.
Yeah.
Because you don't get any sort of reaction from him about her leaving. He doesn't even read her postcard.
No, and we've got like... It's not consistent, is it? Because so Ned's got this condition, and you've seen it in well, I've seen it in real life. You've seen it in other shows as well, where if the environment changes, then people with this condition are very uncomfortable. Why aren't things the way they always are? And at the start, we see Ned affected by the fact his shake's not ready.
Yeah,
and I think there's a couple of other examples as well. But when it comes to the fact his mum's left,
it doesn't even mention it.
No. And it's like, it might sound like we're nitpicking because I did enjoy it overall, but these are all the things that stop this from getting to being the next level and a properly good movie.
It feels like somebody's written an outline for a movie and then filmed it. It doesn't feel like anybody's ever fleshed anything out in this movie.
It needs more time.
It does. It needed a script rewrite. I think you needed. It just doesn't feel fleshed out. It feels like somebody's gone, this needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen.
Yeah, it almost needs to slow down.
It does, yeah. It does.
There needs to be a few more character scenes.
Yeah.
Because I do like the idea for this movie, and overall I did enjoy it.
It's a great idea for a film.
But it just, it wasn't, it didn't have enough to take it to the next level.
No, it didn't. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
And I think they're the things that have stopped it from being in that sort of awardsy festival.
Yeah,
highly regarded.
Yeah,
because it's a nearly, but it's not. It's not there.
It's not. It isn't good enough. What's the best thing about it?
I think everyone's good in it.
I think everybody's great in it. Yeah, I agree. I think
even Exhibit is really good.
Yeah,
so good you didn't even know it was Exhibit.
I didn't.
Oh, he's come a long way. But
I think that. The guy who plays Ned and the girl who plays Tally are both fantastic.
They're good together as well.
Yeah, they've got good chemistry together. It's a shame you never got that reunion with them at the end. Yeah. That doesn't happen even. That doesn't even happen.
Yes, we never see her.
She invites him to San Francisco, but
leaving him at the airport. Yeah.
Yeah, we never see her again, and I don't know if I feel a little shortchanged by there's no payoff of that relationship.
There's more. There's a lot of drama left on the table, isn't there? Of Ned. So essentially, around the similar time, whether it's you could have even made it for dramatic purposes the same day, but his best friend / girlfriend has left.
Yeah.
And his mum's left.
Yeah.
And we never see any of that.
No.
It's like real lost
It's like it doesn't affect him in the slightest.
Yeah.
Even when he goes to San Francisco, he doesn't go to see her. He goes to save people. So it's like, I don't know if I'm missing something with the character or if all of the characters in this are shortchanged. I don't know. I think we've covered what would you change about it.
Yeah.
You've got to rewrite that script. It needs a new draft.
But with what they've got, what they've been given, I think the acting is good. As you'd expect from this cast.
Yeah, it's a great cast.
But it's nicely shot. It is, on the whole, it's well directed. It looks good. But it's just not good enough. It's not all there, is it?
It's just not good enough. It's not finished. It feels like somebody's just picked a script out of a box and filmed it without putting any flesh on the bones.
It feels like I'm watching the edited highlights of a good movie.
That's a great way to put it. Stream table. I'm going to read from the bottom to the top. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Number 7 currently is Riptide. Number 6 is Hard Feelings. Number 5 is Hypnotic. Currently number 4 is Bubble. Number 3 is Finder's Fee. Number 2 is The Girl in the Yellow Jumper. And currently number 1 is The Call. Where does this one go now?
I think I have it 5th.
I think I have it 6th.
Right, okay. That's interesting, because I still think this is...
Told you we'd argue about Hypnotic at some point.
No, I don't think you did. If it was Riptide, you said we'd argue
we'd argue about all of them.
I think this is... I still think there's a big gap there, and I think this is significantly... But I think this is significantly better than Hypnotic. Why do you not?
I don't know. When I was reading through that table, it felt that was the right place for it to go. But I might be right. You might be right.
So I think they share a lot of the same issues.
Yeah, they do.
I 100% agree there. So there's a better film in there somewhere.
Yeah.
But for me, I would have this higher because it's better acted.
Yes, it is.
And it's better. I would say it's better directed and it's better cinematographed.
You're right. It is.
It does have a lot of the same issues as Hypnotic.
It does.
It's a good cast underserved by the script.
By a poor script. Yeah, you're right. It is a better movie than Hypnotic. You're right. I'm with you.
Oh, thanks. For once.
You taught me round.
But having them together, that is... Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there.
Yeah. I think I'm happy with that.
Okay.
I'm going to go with it.
Okay, good.
That's the end. 5th.
5th out of 8.
5th out of 8, mid-table. Okay,
yeah.
Solid mid. Solid mid is how I would describe the film, so that's where it goes in the stream table. Right. We need to pick next week's movie.
Let's do it.
Robin's got the week off.
Oh, here we go.
A wild card has been played. Would you like to know who and what is played?
I would. I know it's not me.
It isn't you. It also isn't me.
Oh, okay. Welcome aboard, one of our Patreons.
Ross Cook has played his wild card.
Fantastic.
He had a bit of a mission playing his wild card this season.
What is that?
You were away over the weekend, so you weren't aware of any of this. Ross picked a movie which he wanted to play as his wild card.
Okay.
I asked him if he was sure because I'd seen the trailer for this movie before.
Okay.
He then went to watch the trailer and changed his mind.
Okay, fine.
He then went and picked another movie, which he then discounted himself again because it was too long.
Right.
Which is fair because it was fucking far too long. And then he picked a third movie, which has become his wild card.
Right. Fine.
His wild card that he has played is a movie called 60 Minutes.
How long is it?
It is on for 128 minutes.
Oh, fine.
No, it's not. It's on for 88 minutes.
Okay.
This movie's less than a month old.
Oh, wow.
It has only just come out.
Brilliant. Fresh.
And I think you're going to be happy with it.
Am I?
Because Ross has picked the movie that you've been asking for a while.
Oh, an action movie.
We've got an action movie.
Oh, amazing.
Not only have we got an action movie, we've got a martial arts movie.
Oh, brilliant.
According to IMDb, it's a boxing, martial arts, action, adventure, drama, sport movie.
Oh, lovely.
It's also German.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you want a synopsis?
Yes, please.
MMA fighter Octavio only has an hour to come to his daughter's birthday. Otherwise, he could lose custody of her forever. But to achieve this goal, he lets a big fight whiz, which all sorts of shady characters don't like. As the synopsis is very poorly written. I presume it says, as they chase Octavio, the merciless race against time will soon push the young father to his limits.
Fine.
So it's basically an MMA fighter trying to get to his daughter's birthday party within an hour.
Brilliant.
That's why it's called 60 Minutes.
Brilliant.
Some for an hour and a half.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
German, so you're not gonna recognise anybody in it, I don't think, but we'll come through that next Thursday. So yeah, there's the second wild card of the season.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. By Ross Cook. So go out and watch 60 Minutes. And in the meantime, check us out on Instagram and Letterboxd at BOTS_podcast. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On our website, you will find every episode we've ever recorded, all of the stream tables, loads of other cool stuff, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream
aviator shades.
I knew you were going to say that. I always think now, what's in the movie that he'll pick, and that's what you picked. After you've done that, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/bottomofthestream. On there, for £5 every month, you will get early access to episodes. You will get bonus episodes. You will get a wild card, which means you can do what Ross has just done. Pick the movie, let us watch it. We'll do an episode on it. And then if you do the best one of the season, you'll win a prize.
Sure.
And then when you've done that, head over to Discord. The Discord is a wonderful group full of wonderful people who will talk to you about anything. We play games. As mentioned earlier, we do watch-alongs in there. We've got a watch-along coming up in a couple of weeks. Every first Sunday of every month, we do a watch-along. It's great fun. Come and join us. The Discord link will be in the bottom of the show notes.
If you can spare a few minutes, please consider leaving us a review and a rating anywhere you can review and rate podcasts. It really helps us out. It helps get our show in front of the eyes and therefore in the ears of more people. You can do that anywhere that you can find podcasts, places like Podbean, Spotify, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, all the big ones, all the small ones, all the ones in between. Please come and find us.
Please do. It's a wonderful place to be. And then, yeah, I think that's it.
Be back here next week. Yeah.
Come back here. We go out and watch 60 Minutes. Come back on Monday for The Wave and next Thursday for The Movie Show.
Cheers.
Goodbye.